If we don't prepare our kids to understand this super powerful but imperfect tool, they're going to get swept away by a wave and they won't know where it's taking them.
What's actually happening in the world of education? What are some of these pitfalls that we have to look out for?
It gets overwhelming once you look into it. AI has opened up this huge opportunity to revolutionize how we learn that also future-proofs them. Give kids what they need to learn, to enjoy learning. It doesn't have to involve tech. If they're going to spend time on technology, we want them to spend time creating, not consuming. It's forcing us to ask what makes us human.
We want to have that healthy skepticism
Yeah.
about the content that we consume,
Yeah.
so we don't succumb to fake news, but also not become desensitized to it either.
The way that we incorporate AI into our learning really matters. It's not just the fact that AI is here, we have to incorporate it. It's like, how do we incorporate it?
The world has gone crazy with AI. It's the talk of the town. Why should parents be talking about or thinking about AI in their kids' lives?
AI is reshaping the world so quickly right now.
It is.
If we don't prepare our kids to understand this super powerful but imperfect tool, they're going to get swept away by a wave and they won't know where it's taking them. You know, the tech giants, they're in this really intense race right now to dominate our lives.
Yeah, I guess like social media. They just want our attention.
Yeah, our attention, and also to control our behaviors, like how we do things.
Yeah. Well, a big part of it is probably because they are all racing to get to general AI, so that that's supposed to be the holy grail.
Yeah. Yep. And I feel its intensity right now.
Yeah.
We can't rely on schools to catch up or adapt fast enough to be able to future-proof our kids. So I guess that's why we as parents should be having these conversations now. Like, what do we want to give to our children in terms of an upbringing, a childhood that also future-proofs them?
So how do we use AI in the household?
So we're trying to be really intentional about this new technology. I mean, we have to be cautious because our role is to protect our kids, but we also want to future-proof them, and we also want to expose them to these amazing tools for creation. We don't want to limit them to thinking that they live in a world without all these amazing tools. So when the kids were younger, they kind of had more limited access to like a screen in front of them, but they were exposed to AI elements like Google Home. We're going to talk to them talk about how we use it.
Yeah. Well, we primarily use it for music, but in doing so, our children become more articulate.
Yeah.
From a young age, our little ones can say, "Hey Google," or "Hey Doodle."
Yeah.
And yeah, that it helps them become more articulate to get the result that they need in order to play the music that they want.
Yeah. We've seen them grapple with frustration of like it not understanding. And I mean, I get frustrated too. And I'm sure it responds better to male voices than female voices. But they have learnt to, okay, it didn't work this way. I'm going to ask it that way.
And that's how good communicators can get their point across. They change up what they say to cater to the audience.
Yeah.
And in this instance, it's Google Assistant.
Yeah.
But also with Google Assistant, it's been so good for especially for our 5 and 7-year-old, to quench their curiosity, for them to be able to ask questions when they have those questions in mind. So much of it has been about learning about the universe and space. Our daughter has all these questions, some of which I can answer and like to answer, but sometimes I can't. And then she'll go off and ask Google Assistant.
It teaches them that they don't have to leave any question unanswered.
Yeah.
They can follow their curiosities.
That whole following your curiosity is a huge theme in our parenting journey. We want them to be able to not only quench their curiosity, but to keep it alive, to grow it so that they can be curious about the world. Yeah. And know that they can achieve things when they ask the right questions.
Another thing that we do is in terms of how we use AI, use technology at home in general, we have this real emphasis on being more so a creator than just a consumer. We're all consumers, but where do we fall on that scale? You know, we want them to be nudged a little bit more towards the creator side.
Yeah.
If they're going to spend time on technology, we want them to spend time creating, not consuming.
Yeah. And that's not just creator in terms of a YouTube creator, but to create businesses, to create solutions for the world.
Yeah, yep. Other ways in which we incorporate AI at home. We just bring them into the learning process as we're learning about it. We don't give them access to it, but we show them. So when the image generators kind of started popping up with AI, what was it called? Like
I think early on it was called DALL-E.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we're like, kids, give me the most random scene that you can imagine, and you just typed it out, and the image popped up. And they were like, wow.
So Valerie would start off with a unicorn flying through the sky. And then Lawrence would come in with hell raining down on them.
Yeah, it was really fun, right? And, we use these, we expose them, but we also use it as a moment of connection between parent and kids. We're creating together. We're having fun together. We're exploring and discovering together. We've used it to create uplifting songs about each other.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. You can ask it to create lyrics for you. And, some of them are a bit cheesy, but once you plug it into the song creator, it's indistinguishable from a radio song.
Yeah, it's really good.
So, what's actually happening in the world of education around the globe?
AI has opened up huge opportunities to revolutionize education. So, let's just talk about schools, right? On the student front, now a student has the ability to have access to a one-on-one tutor across every subject for free. Like just a few years ago, it was unimaginable. That was always the ideal, because there have been studies showing how much better it would be if students could have a one-on-one tutor. But it just wasn't possible because it's a resourcing issue, right?
Yeah. Well, it's expensive.
Yeah. And there aren't enough tutors out there. Whereas AI is offering them this like personalized, really patient, really motivational, really knowledgeable tutor who can adapt to their learning styles, talk in their language. So like imagine a kid sitting in class who's really disengaged, isn't really wanting to learn, but outside of school, he loves soccer so much. Like AI can help the kid learn about maths and like science in the language of soccer, which increases engagement and teach the kid according to the pace that they need to learn at. So lots of benefits for the kid.
Okay.
On the other side of the classroom is the teacher, and there are heaps of tools out there right now to support the teacher, which is really exciting, to take away the administrative burden from their role in terms of things like lesson planning, marking and giving feedback, things like that take up a lot of their time outside the classroom.
Well, still in the classroom, but outside of their core teaching role.
Yeah, no, they do a lot of work outside the classroom as well.
Yeah.
And they take a lot of work home with them. So anyway, AI helps relieve that administrative burden and helps them hopefully free up time and energy to put back into the role that they love doing, which is to teach and connect with kids.
What about specific countries in terms of what their efforts are in terms of bringing AI into the school?
So from Australia, where we are right now, we have this principles-based framework that kind of centers around like safe, ethical, transparent use of AI. It seems pretty decentralized. It gives flexibility to the states and each school to kind of experiment with AI how they want to, as long as it meets these, principles. But it just doesn't feel very...
There's no rush. There's no super excitement.
Yeah,
which there seems to be around the world.
There's cautious movement, really cautious movement. They're not seeing this opportunity for what it could be. They're just cautious. And there's a lot of talk around that policy, safety, ethical side, which is really important. But I feel like we're stuck there. And whatever is working in different schools, it's not going to be spread across in the entirety of Australia really quickly. I feel that way looking at what we have to work with, and then I compare it with what I'm hearing going on overseas. And it seems like there are a lot of countries out there who are really like grabbing AI with two hands. Like you've got Estonia. Their government has partnered with OpenAI to integrate AI into their entire education system. So
That's exciting.
Yeah, that's something to kind of keep a watch on. How could an AI-led education model look like? You've got China, who is quite aggressively trying to get ahead of the race with AI, and it's incorporating AI into its education system, quite early from the age of 6, I think. And they're going to incorporate AI across all of their courses by 2030. Like that's a commitment. We don't have any commitments like that in Australia that I've seen or heard of. Singapore, they're trying to be AI's hub, like an AI economic hub by 2030. And they're incorporating AI into their schools from the age of 8. They're actively calling for AI investment into its country.
Yeah. Kind of like how Meta is just paying everybody hundreds of millions of dollars to come to jumping ship from their other...
They're poaching.
Yeah, they're poaching.
Yeah, because it's a huge race. AI is going to heavily define the future.
Yeah.
I'm reading all these things about what the governments are doing, but it's quite quiet here.
Yeah. In Australia, there's no push from the government, but there isn't those giant tech companies like there is in Silicon Valley.
Yeah.
So it doesn't disseminate as prolifically within Australia as it would.
But I mean, you could do things like in South Korea at the moment, they just release digital textbooks. So each class can choose one textbook to create an AI digital version of and to get students to learn from it. And in that sense, you've got this textbook that can adapt to each child's learning. And as I understand it, what a child can do is, as they're learning, they can highlight concepts that they don't quite understand, and it will reframe things, rephrase questions to try to help them understand. And if they really don't understand, like, it'll give the teacher feedback that, hey, this kid is struggling and stuck on this concept. You might want to go over and spend some time with them. So it's reshaping education over there. And it could something as low-hanging as digital textbooks, which has, I think, quite low risks because you wouldn't be opening it up to all of the internet, right? I feel like that's quite doable. I mean, you can, but I think you can have control of it.
Yeah. I guess it just totally depends on how far you can take a digital textbook, because if it's trying to source additional information, it's going to have to get that from somewhere.
Yeah.
If it's going to have to use an LLM to do logic for it, depending on whether or not that LLM is housed within their own infrastructure, or if it's going to be, from the American servers or something like that, Google servers, ChatGPT servers.
Yeah.
Yeah, it just depends on how it's made.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Australia has always been a bit cautious about how it adopts anything like this. But there might be good reason. What are some of these pitfalls that we have to look out for in terms of, we are definitely optimists when it comes to this technology. Hopefuls, you could say. And also hoping to arm ourselves with the right knowledge so that we can utilize it the way we need to take us forward. What are some of the fears and worries and things to look out for, pitfalls? In
the broader context, like in terms of saying that we're optimists, we fully acknowledge the risks, right, that AI can have for the world.
Yeah.
There are so many risks and they are very scary. We acknowledge that presence, but we're real about it. AI is here and it's here to stay. And in terms of whether or not AI is good for the world or bad for the world, it depends on how people use it. And so we're optimists in the sense that we want more people to use AI for good and to sway the balance to good. It has the potential to reshape how we use our brains. And that's scary, but there are also opportunities there if we learn how to use it in a way that will optimize our brains. Or if we learn to use AI in a way that will optimize our humanness, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like offload all the robotic stuff that we're forced to do, or the repetitive tasks, and just double that.
Burdensome administrative stuff that we don't want to do.
Yeah, don't want to do, don't need to do. But before now, there wasn't any other way to do it except to
just do it.
to just do it. Yeah, or hire like grads or something to do the jobs you don't want to do, but AI wasn't here to do yet.
Yeah.
I want to talk about this study, this MIT study that I found really interesting because I think it really it demonstrates the pitfalls of AI in education really well, but it also demonstrates the opportunities for how to incorporate AI into learning. At MIT, they took a group, and it's a small study. Like they took a group of 54 uni students and they split them up into 3 groups. So all 3 groups had to write an essay. The first group could only use their brains.
There's a dog
The
yapping
neighbor's
in the
dog.
background. Yes, we do this at home.
The second group could only use Google search. And then the third group could use ChatGPT from the get-go to write this essay. So they did it over 4 sessions and they took brain scans. The group who were writing the essay using their brain only had the most neural connectivity. It's like they were making all these connections. It was firing off a lot. The group that started off with ChatGPT, theirs fired off the least. And then the search engines were in the middle somewhere. The group who was relying on ChatGPT to write their essays, they couldn't remember what they wrote just minutes prior to being asked about what they wrote because they had no ownership over their process. Whereas the brain people did. Search engine people always in the middle, right? The interesting thing is in the 4th session, they switched it around. They told the brain-only group that now you can use AI to finish off your essay. And then they told the ChatGPT group, now you don't have access to ChatGPT. You've got to use your brain only. And the results were really telling. So the brain-only group who were able to use ChatGPT, their results in terms of how their brain fired up were the best. They were the highest, even higher than they were before they were only using their brain. It's like they were actively engaging with AI and it was broadening their learning experience.
Maybe AI was helping them fill the gaps or teaching them.
Exactly. Or like, maybe they're like, okay, what points am I missing here? Like be the devil's advocate. The ChatGPT group who weren't allowed to access it anymore and had to rely on their brains, they were the worst performing. The way that we incorporate AI into our learning really matters. It's not just the fact that AI is here, we have to incorporate it. It's like, how do we incorporate it? What's the best way to do so? And this is only like one small study, but you can already see that it makes sense. And so I think as parents and hopefully the schools will kind of help guide our children to use AI as a collaborator, not a replacer.
So that's very, very insightful in terms of the way to use these tools in order to supplement learning.
Yeah, and that's it. It should be a tool to supplement learning. It shouldn't be a tool to replace your brain.
Yes. How about the general pitfalls that the wider society has been worried about?
So, like I said, AI is like this really powerful but imperfect tool. So it's imperfect. It will have biases that we might not be able to see. So each model is trained on a certain subset of data, and whatever biases exist in that data is what will be fed as like true for this model to spit out as an answer. And it might not be so obvious, but if biases keep on creeping up into the answers that you rely on and think is true, it's going to reshape our values and our beliefs in a really silent manner.
Yeah. It can kind of be equated to how we grow up and we learn through our experiences.
Yeah.
Like AI doesn't know any better. That's the information it was thrown in order to be trained.
We living in this society know that others live differently. But when we rely on AI and we think it knows everything, we think that whatever it says is true. Unless you can critically evaluate the answers that AI gives you. And that's, something that we parents and educators need to do. Help our kids critically evaluate these answers now.
Yes.
Because we've never had to do that so much before.
And that's one of the current flaws of AI.
Yeah.
That fluid thinking.
Yeah.
It's something that they're trying to work out in order to get to general intelligence. But at the moment, it's very good at spitting out information that it has already learned.
Yeah.
but throw it into a new environment, there's a lot of development that needs to happen in that area. In order to get it not to hallucinate, you can give it guardrails.
Yeah.
Like if you literally put in a system prompt, don't lie, if you don't have the information,
Okay.
it can help. And I'm assuming that that's kind of what happens with a lot of educational software.
Yeah.
Because if you're going to teach someone,
Yeah.
it has to be factual, it has to be real,
Yeah.
it has to be the right information.
Yeah. Don't lie just to sound good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
There are tools actually like Notebook LM which give it this guardrail already. Like they say, okay, you can upload all your data to write an essay, for example, or that you want to learn from, and the AI will only use those as sources. It won't look outside of those sources to give answers. So, and I think that's a really, like that in itself is a really powerful tool.
Yeah.
There's a lot of talk about AI increasing the gap between those who have and those who have not. So we're talking about like countries in Africa who don't have technological infrastructure to access the internet, let alone capitalize on what AI opportunities can provide, versus those in the Western world who have free access to all of this. It's only going to widen the gap when we're trying to like close the gap in terms of poverty and opportunities, etc.
Yeah. Well, as an example, an LLM like Grok has been trained on a lot of Twitter data or X data.
Yeah.
The impoverished kids probably don't have access to X.
Yeah.
In which case, their situations, their voices are not heard within
or represented.
Grok.
Yeah.
Not represented in Grok.
It's like truth seeking, right? Like their voices aren't part of the truth.
And look, that's Grok. That's obviously the X ecosystem,
Yeah.
but it's going to be the same with Google. It's going to be the same with ChatGPT.
Yeah.
And it's just something that we need to keep note of because that training data comes from somewhere.
Yeah.
And it influences the AI that we're going to be using.
Yeah. To shape the future.
It's the same notion of, if we don't jump on the bandwagon, then we could be left behind as well.
Yeah.
Access is one thing. The willingness to adopt is another as well. So.
Yeah. I guess tying it all back to education, one of the biggest pitfalls is that a student no longer thinks that they need to learn. Like subconsciously. No, wait, let me rephrase that.
As in, like how a child getting a calculator doesn't feel like they need to learn how to do maths anymore.
That's a really good example. So calculators, right, were introduced, I think it was late 1970s. And apparently there was this huge uproar in schools about our kids, they're going to stop thinking if they have access to this calculator. And then, reality is it's a tool that we use so we can do computational thinking really quickly and easily without having to take up our brains on rote memorization, right? Yeah. It's still important to know your maths, just it's freed us up to think about other things.
Yeah. You should probably know how to add and subtract before you go to the shops and get swindled by the shopkeeper.
Yeah, exactly. So there's still this basic threshold.
Yeah. The way I see it is just in the same way that when the calculator was introduced, we didn't have to do as much manual calculation. We didn't have to do everything on a piece of paper.
We didn't have to do long form division each time we wanted to. Yeah, every
single time. In the same way, if we can learn how to utilize AI, we can do away with some of the more manual things that we do.
Yeah.
And there's more potential on the other end of learning to grow our minds to more useful and productive ways of doing things.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of those sorts of tools, tools in education like in South Korea, what about other tools that are helping shape education around the world?
There are so many actually. It gets overwhelming once you look into it because, like I said, it is a race. Like AI has opened up this huge opportunity to revolutionize how we learn and how we are all learners, no matter what age. Before I go into some of these tools, I think it's important to say that as parents, I think we should be intentional with how we adopt the tools, what we adopt, how much we adopt. So instead of just say, oh, look at this bright and shiny new tool that's come out. I like the sound of it. Okay, I'm just going to get that and give my kid full access to it. What we've done is say, okay, we really want to focus on our kids' love of learning rather than academic achievement. What tools are going to support that? So we could easily give them heaps of tools that will really propel them forward in or like math, sciences, English, etc. But instead, we're looking for tools. We're actively looking for tools that will feed their love of learning and understanding of these concepts in real life as they're experiencing life right now as a 5, 6, 7-year-old.
Yeah.
So there are tools like Khanmigo. They're a big player in this space, and I really like them.
The makers of Khan Academy.
Yep. They have a lot of parameters built in already. They have Socratic learning as one of those parameters.
Yeah. Or it's one of its core foundations.
Yeah. So Socratic learning is where like the AI won't give you the answer. It's going to prompt you and kind of ask you these like questions to get you to think yourself to come to your answer. And by giving wrong answers, it can kind of see where your head is at and it will try to steer you, you know?
So leading to the answer without giving the answer.
Yeah. By having dialogue. Yep. Yeah. Talking to it.
Like what a good teacher should do. Not give you the answers, but teach you the process of getting to the answer.
How to think. Yeah. And when you say good teacher, I'm like, oh man, that's such a hard role to fill, right?
Yeah.
Like I can't even do that for our own kids. It's so hard.
Yeah.
It's so tempting to just give them the answer because it takes time and patience.
That is the beauty of AI. A lot of people say that, you know, AI doesn't have a soul, AI can't think for itself. But the whole point of AI is that it emulates the data that we've given it. We've given it the way that we want to teach, and it has learnt, you know, its steps on how to teach somebody. So it can do, you know, it can lay out a teaching formula, I guess you could say, the way that we want it to.
Yeah. AI is always patient, always encouraging, and its end goal is to answer that question in the way that it's been trained.
Yes.
Yeah. So Khanmigo is a really good starting point. I won't go into too many, but like Google, if you just even look up what Google offers in terms of education, there's a whole suite of stuff about how to help kids and people, like adults, write, how to help them with just general homework. So if a grade 5er is having troubles with a maths problem or something, or a science problem, and they're working on paper, they can just take a photo of that problem and send it to this Google, you know, whatever it's called.
Yeah. So it's not the search engine. It's like another like purposeful education part of what Google has to offer.
Yes. And the AI, Google AI, will see the problem and start stepping them through the steps on how to solve it. So there's heaps of stuff like that. There's even, you know, if you want to teach your kid or learn a new language, one of the big players is Duolingo. It's been around for a little while, but now with AI, it's been enhanced. You can have real life conversations, like live conversations, with AI to consolidate your learning. So there's heaps of those sorts of tools and tool enhancements.
And I think that encapsulates what the AI market is like at the moment.
Yeah.
In terms of you've got these services or traditional services that are enhancing themselves with AI.
Yeah.
And in the education space, it's probably making one of the biggest impacts because it's such a good use case.
Yeah, I think the biggest industries up for being revolutionized by AI are medicine and education at the moment. So, what other tools? There's synthesis tutor. So, you know, we're talking about how we're actively choosing between choosing apps that support a love of learning.
This is the one that's made by SpaceX?
Yes. And that part excites me because they're really progressive, right?
Well, yeah, they can take us to Mars.
Yeah, exactly. So, and
can't get more progressive than that.
Before, like, you know, only a few years ago, this program was limited to the students attending that SpaceX school. Now it's being made available to whomever.
Yeah.
And so we've trialed it and our kids love it. And it offers a really good way to optimize their digital time. Like, so instead of just passively watching something on YouTube Kids or something like that. They're playing maths games and they're learning things in a really interesting way. Like they're just smashing things really. Like it feels like a game, but they're learning concepts.
Smashing things into pieces,
Yeah.
which then shows them what fractions is like.
Yeah.
Or just the notion of splitting something into half or splitting something into quarters.
Yeah. And we did this trial session before we signed up for it. So I think it was like a 1-week trial. And even on the first day, our daughter goes, "Hey, Synthesis, this is getting a little bit hard for me. Do you have anything else?" She just asked it, "Do you have anything else?" And then it thought for a little while. Like I watched her from behind her shoulder. It thought for 5-10 seconds, and then it just gave her all these other options, and she immediately gravitated towards it. Like it can really adapt to your kids' interests and pace of learning. And
that's what a teacher teaching a classroom of 30 kids doesn't have the capacity to do.
Exactly. And I think we feel this urge to be on the front foot with it because where we live in Australia, progress seems so slow on it. The Stanford University Global AI Vibrancy Tool. So it compares 36 countries and their AI ecosystems. And as at 2023, that's when the last, time point was, when they compared all these countries. Out of 36 countries, we came 28th. Australia came 28th. Behind countries like Portugal, Belgium, Malaysia, we came 28th. I'm just like, how are we so low?
And that's no shade on any of those countries.
No. But when you think about like Malaysia, our infrastructure is so much more advanced than theirs, right?
No shade on Malaysia. Come on.
No, he's Malaysian. I'm not throwing shade, but you just don't expect Australia to be behind Malaysia in terms of tech.
Yes.
I just feel like we have a lot of growth in, like, there's so much opportunity here to improve learning. It's not a race to like get our kids to be the most tech savvy. It's a race, in my mind, in terms of education. It's a race to give kids what they need to learn, to enjoy learning, to be engaged with the world around them.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to involve tech. But let's just start having these conversations. Actually, we're already having these conversations. Let's just start taking action from these conversations.
Yeah. Speaking of which, where do you see humans in the role of education? So, teachers per se. Yeah.
I think with all the potential tools that teachers will have access to, I hope they will be freed up to become more of a guide to the teachers.
To the students.
To the students, yes. So that they're not having to spend all their time teaching a curriculum. They can spend a bit more time getting the kids to learn the curriculum through AI, which lots of schools are already trialing, and having the teacher as like a guide to help with motivation, to help guide the learning journey, to help connect on that social emotional level. If you think about who your favorite teacher was in school, usually they're the ones who inspired you somehow, who believed in you. They're not the ones who taught the best, like who taught the curriculum well. They connected with you. Yeah. And I'm hoping that teachers will have more energy and time to be able to connect with students, to see what they haven't been able to see. Oh, this kid, maybe they're hungry, but before, all the pressures were on their time to do all these other tasks. There are already really good schools out there, like in America, that I'm seeing that are proving that this can work really well on a large scale. So there's alpha schools, and they have no teachers. They have this model where their students spend 2 hours a day learning the curriculum through AI, and they are like killing it. They're scoring really high based off 2 hours of learning with an AI tutor. And then they spend the rest of their day, like 4 hours or something, on learning life skills, building their own passion projects with mentorship and guidance from adults. And these adults, they don't have to have teaching degrees. Their role is to motivate the child or the student, connect them with the mentors that they need. So that's already working really well. And the last I heard, they're growing at a rate that they can't kind of keep up with. There's so much interest in this new model.
So one of the potential worries for some parents might be overexposing their children to technology with the advent of AI. Now, if we want to be able to use AI more, we might have to put them in front of technologies like screens. And for some parents, that's not something that they want. How do we go about mitigating those concerns and those worries?
So we've already talked about a lot of the things that we do at home to kind of balance out screen time and how the kids use it. So things like having screen time as a privilege, not a right. When you do use screens, using it as a creator, not a consumer. And in terms of using AI, and more so in the future, because our kids are still quite young, using AI as a collaborator, not like something that will just create things for you based on a single prompt.
Yeah. So it doesn't diminish your learning capability.
Yeah, so it actually grows your mind, not diminishes your mind. And for each family, it's just going to come down to what the right balance is for you. And it's going to look different for every family. I'm not going to say there's a right or a wrong in terms of how you use it. It's about what feels right to you as a parent. You'll kind of do whatever you do at home. And when you feel that niggling like discomfort of, they're on the screens a bit, too much, I feel, do something about it. Change something up or put a boundary in. Like, okay, instead of watching YouTube Kids, I'll give you access to these games on Synthesis Tutor.
And keeping that balance in mind, how do we future-proof our children in the age of AI?
One of the things I really have enjoyed with this AI kind of revolution is how it has reshaped the conversations around humans and technology. So it's forcing us to ask what makes us human with technology that can do so much already. So I think a way to future-proof our kids is to have those discussions in our own minds with each other, with the world, and ask ourselves, what can humans do that AI can't anymore? And to double down on that.
Yeah.
So skills like, AI can critically think, but humans are just going to have to be doubly as good, at critical thinking.
Yeah.
There's compassion, there's kindness, there's connection between humans. There's that added warmth because as we've seen, AI has this really warm, reassuring tone already, but it's not the same as the human touch, So I think to future-proof our kids, we just have to lean into what makes us human more than we have before. Like we've already talked a lot about making sure that our kids are AI literate and that they can critically assess the information that they're going to be bombarded with, because they're going to grow up in a world where they won't know what's real or not anymore. We're already experiencing that now. Like, what's fake news? Did that person really say that?
That point about critical evaluation is just going to it's going to get harder and harder every day. Yeah, we're seeing all kinds of videos these days. Sharks jumping out of the water and punch people in the face.
Yeah. Entertainment value, right?
Yeah. But until that point where the shark comes out with boxing gloves.
Yeah, it looks real.
It looks real. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's only going to get harder and harder and harder to distinguish between what's real and what's fake.
And the dangers lie in the intent behind the videos. Yeah. What is that video? We need to teach our kids what is this content trying to make you feel? Yeah. Why do they want you to feel that way? Who is making it? Yeah. What's their motive?
I think that there is a very fine line that needs to be taught because we want to have that healthy skepticism about the content that we consume so that we are not, we don't succumb to propaganda, we don't succumb to, fake news. But also not become desensitized to it either. I mean, if we want to be moved as humans, it's part of the feeling that we enjoy in life. So having to be able to draw that fine line is something we're going to have to be able to teach. And just learn for ourselves, but also to be able to teach our children how to decipher.
And our brains are tired. Like our brains just want the shortcuts, and which makes it even harder to critically think and apply it to everything that you're exposed to. So maybe the answer is to get the kids out into nature full time. That'll solve things. And I think
just don't use AI at all.
That's an option. But I think nature, like this kind of, I'm going to go on a bit of a tangent, but I think it's a really important point. Nature is the wisest, best teacher out there. It has so many lessons. It has taught me so much. Like since, buying this house, having our garden, I've learned so much about life, not just gardening or food, but life and how it works and how perfect and imperfect it is, and how the imperfections give us strength, and the conditions and the environment. And I've applied a lot of what I've learned through nature into parenting. And a lot of my philosophies, like my approaches to things, will come from my lessons from my garden. And a lot of what we eat also, it's taught me a lot about what we're buying from the shops and things like that. I think it's really important to kind of help them be AI literate before this new world that we're going to find ourselves in, but also get them connected to nature and each other. It's got to be the most important thing. And then AI literacy after that.
Yeah. Well, I just understand that it is one of the tools in the toolbox.
Yes, it's a tool in the toolbox, but we need to talk about it. Don't ignore it.
Yeah. Maybe it's a giant saw that can cut your arm off.
Yeah.
So we've gone through a lot in terms of the evolution of AI, but also its impact on education and on our parenting journeys.
Yeah.
If there is one primary thing that you want our viewers to be able to take home and to really keep in mind or to even implement in their homes, what would that be?
I think he summed it up really well just before. AI is a new tool, new and very powerful but imperfect tool in the toolbox. It doesn't have to take over your world right now in terms of how you parent or how you educate. Be intentional with what you use and how you use it. There's no right or wrong in terms of how to be intentional with it. It goes back to what you feel is the right balance for your own family and your own values as a family. Think about what it is you want to achieve and find the right tools out there. And the right tools might not be based in technology. It could be based in tactile materials for learning a concept. It could be getting them out into nature to learn something. It could be getting them to learn using hands-on experience and then supplementing it with AI or technology, like a video learning on YouTube Kids or something like that to really consolidate what they're learning.
Yeah.
You've got so many tools available to you now as a parent and as an educator. Use them and use them well and intentionally. Yeah.
Fantastic. Well, thanks for coming.
You're welcome. What are we having for lunch?
Cool.